My name's Jenn, Labiuk. I am, that's usually the most important thing that I'm going to say. I work with teenagers. Currently, I'm at my youth office is a half a block away from Esquimalt High. I love teenagers so much, like so much. They're my life, like my life. I love kids. But because God made me a mom, like I have 4 children where my husband and I, we have a blended family. I had 2, I was a teenage mom. That's actually why I live in Victoria. What's cool is when I first moved here for the first year, I was actually on Lamson Street in the 3-bedroom apartment with my mom. And then she moved to the top of Carrie and Tilcombe, which I still consider the area of Esquimalt. Maybe not, it's technically Saanich, but it's the same, federal riding. But yeah, just moved from one end of like Lamson and Tilcombe kind of are one, and moved to the other end. So that's I love Esquimalt. I currently live in Colwood. We have 4 children between us. I didn't know that this was part of it, so now I'm like, I have ADHD, so just pardon me. So yeah, we have 4 children. I had 2. My husband had one. We brought them together. We had 1 more. So we have 4 kids. My oldest is 24. She just got married in September. Yes, praise the Lord. So I have a son-in-law now. This is amazing. So good. So we have a 24-year-old, a 22-year-old, just about 19, just about 16. Those are our children. And then we used to volunteer at a place called Sanctuary Youth Center, if anyone is familiar with a place called Sanctuary Youth Center. It's downtown Victoria, and Darren Reimer is the executive director of that. And they are a place that helps and serves at-risk youth in our downtown core. So kids that are on the street. So my husband and I started serving there because I'm the one that's like called to teenagers. But my husband, which is why we're married, I'm sure, he also has that love for children. He's a dad. I'm a mom. He's a dad. And that's like in the Lord as well as natural. So we served there. I think I served there for like 3 years, just volunteering. And I formed relationships with all the kids down there that were there for a few years. And there was like a solid group of kids that were there like every week. And so I saw them every Friday for about 3 years. And one of them in particular was this young woman. And man, did we love her. Is there Kleenex? I might end up crying because this is hard. Yeah. She was a mom. We met her eldest son when he was 3. That's when we started volunteering. He's 13 now. Then we met, and then she had 2 more. I was the first one to find out that she was pregnant with her second. She's 7 now. And then I was there for the ultrasound of her youngest, who's 5 now, like just turned 5. And we love these kids. And she started calling us auntie and uncle. And that was the role. And my husband and I, we didn't just take it lightly. When you say family, belonging, that's a lifelong thing, unless someone decides to separate, but still, it's still a lifelong thing. The love doesn't go away. She passed away last February. So not this one, but the one before of, it was tragic. It was unexpected. And we were already doing some respite for her with the kids because we love them. And so we now have her 3 children. So our household of 4 turned 5 with a son-in-law, like 4 kids plus 5 with the son-in-law. My boy's girlfriends, which are pretty much her family too. And then now we have 3 additional kids. So my life went from, this is a half joke, we're almost finished. Like we get to actually like come together and have time as husband and wife because we don't know what that's like because we were blended. To now we have a 5-year-old who's starting kindergarten in September. So we get to start all over again. But it's a joy and a blessing. And losing a parent is a tough thing. But they're transitioning really well. Like really well. And we sure do love them. So that's maybe with that you can understand my heart for kids. It's not just the ones that are naturally mine. It's not just my stepdaughter, who's naturally my husband's. It's all encompassing. And so every youth that I come into contact with, they kind of take this. I don't even think it's taking, maybe, but they become a part of my heart. And like I love them with everything I have, and it's not of my own sustenance. It's actually the Lord, because it's hard to love a lot of people, and God is so faithful, and He is love. That is who He is. That encompasses Jesus. He is love, and that is for everyone. So that I guess is a big part of my story. Yeah, thank you. So, so when I first started working at the community youth, I was called in to be a youth worker under Cam. Cam was great. Cam and I actually went to high school together because I graduated from Vic High, and I was a teen mom there because they had a daycare. And Cam used to play hacky sack, if anyone knows what that is, outside of the daycare window. We didn't cross paths because I didn't talk to anyone because I was a mom, and I was like, I just want to focus on my child and graduate, and that's it. And I'm shy, and I didn't want to meet people, so that's another thing. But I remember this dude with he's redhead. There's not too many. No, but there's not too many people with naturally red hair. And there was this group of guys that would stand outside the daycare every lunch and kick the ball around and throw it at each other because that's what you did. He was one of them. So I think it's really neat. And then I also serve as the director of youth at my church. I go to New Life Community Fellowship, which is also at the top of Carrie and Tillicum. You'll understand the reason why that's my church, because I said I moved to the top of Carrie and Tillicum, which is right beside the church. So I've been attending there for 15 years. The whole family has gotten saved there. It's a beautiful thing. The reason why I'm saying that, though, is so you understand that what's going on with the youth of our city right now is actually super cool, because they're not just sitting in one place. They're actually, I'll use my hands. It's it weaves. It just flows together. You can't separate one from another. They're finding each other. They're finding community. They're actually rooted in their home churches, but they'll go to other ones so they can keep this community. And it's really neat, because that is actually what the church is supposed to be. Is we're supposed to be unified in Jesus. It doesn't matter about denominational differences. We are one. We are God's family. He's put us in family. And so we all belong to one another. So when you're seeing the teenagers actually doing this natural, we belong to one another. It doesn't matter where we go, where our home is, we belong. So that is the big picture home. And yes, so the title of my message, it's kind of more of a sharing, but hopefully you'll get the message. It's a place to call home, and you'll understand when I share what's been going on lately, that you'll understand that the place to call home is ultimately in God. Ultimately, that's our home. That's our belonging. That's where we feel cared for. But we get to be home for others as well, personally, and then in community. It's very important. So I'm going to start with the scripture from Psalm 84. This one has been kind of really important to me over the last little while, just personally. But Psalm 84 is titled the longing for God. God. Yes. I am going to read from the NLT. I'm nervous. How lovely is your dwelling place, O Lord of heaven's armies. I long, yes, I faint with longing to enter the courts of the Lord. With my whole being, body, and soul, I will shout joyfully for the living God. Even the sparrow finds a home, and the swallow builds her nest and raises her young in a place near your altar. O Lord of heaven's armies, my King and my God. What joy for those who can live in your house, always singing your praises. So that's a personal home. I want to make sure that my nest, my personal, myself, my heart is beside the throne of Jesus. Because if I can't be sitting right next to him, I can do nothing. He is everything. He is my strength. He is my shield. He is my comfort. He is my help in time of need. and I need a lot of help on a daily basis, like hourly basis. So many times I'll just sit and I'm just like, help. And he comes to help because he loves me. He loves you all, but we'll talk. Yes. So we're gonna just sit there with that. So home, what is home? Home is a place, I think we can all agree that home is a place of comfort. It's a place where you belong, where you fit in, where you can be yourself. Which, amen. Because no matters, they just know you, they know your quirks, they know your hang-ups, they know the good stuff, they know the bad stuff. It's just this place that you get to care for each other and belong. There's usually parents there, siblings, kind of sounds like the church if you think about it, or there's family. Home is ultimately love, a place where you can love other people and you can be loved. So, with that being said, I have lovely Jolynn with me today. She's actually my intern for this year. I was praying for if anyone has received any of the emails I've sent. I'm still working on those. Jolynn has been our intern at the community youth since January, and she is a great blessing and addition to the team. And what I'm always thinking when I think of home lately is her story of home, because she's what we call a third culture kid, meaning what? Say it again.
Somebody who's lived outside of their passport home country.
Somebody who's lived outside of their passport home country.
And so they don't, so for me, I was born here in Victoria, but I grew up in Argentina, in Venezuela, in the US, and UAE, in the United Arab Emirates.
Yeah.
But so I don't feel totally Canadian. I don't feel totally Argentine or Emirati. And so I create a third culture.
Yes. So that is pretty crazy. But there's a lot. It's called the diaspora, which is full of third culture kids and cross-cultural kids. And it is actually the fourth largest group in the world, like people group. So it's really neat. But you understand more of God's calling for home when you start understanding third culture kids and like CCK's people that are like, I don't belong. So it's, what does home mean? What is the actual like definition of it? Because I can say that my home is like where I live in Colwood, in my house, like that's my home. But what is home? Like what does that mean? So I've loved having Jolynn because she's really helped us understand that. And she's really actually brought that with her. It's been a huge blessing to the ministry having her since January. A lot of kids have really super connected. And if people don't know, but a lot of the kids that actually attend Esquimalt High would be considered third culture kids or cross-cultural kids. So kids that have been raised somewhere else and now they call like Esquimalt their home or Victoria their home. So there's challenges with that. Like there can be huge challenges with that about belonging and understanding what home is. So we have seen an influx in kids that we see and build relationship with in the school because of that. I think
Jen, I was just wondering how military families also feel really
Yes.
connected.
That's
Rooted
yes.
Lived in 1,000 places.
Absolutely.
1,000 identities.
Yep.
Every time.
Absolutely.
You must be a crazy.
It's fantastic. But that's kind of the beauty of it, right? Is like you have all these kids that are really ultimately going like, I don't belong, like where do I fit in? And then we get to go into a public school and do what? We get to bring with us and carry with us the Spirit of the living God who places the lonely in families, right? So you're feeling a loneliness, you're feeling a disconnect, and that's what we get to be. So the fact that we're in Esquimalt High and half a block away and we have our drop-in center is such a beautiful thing. I was really nervous like last year was my first full year, so now is like my second year of like heading up, being the director of the community youth after taking over for CAM, which was totally a surprise to me. I think some of you know that. I love Cam a lot. And he's such a dad as well, which is why he like brought me in, I think, because he's like, I see that you carry the same heart for the kids of this community and for the community. And that is why he was comfortable enough, I guess, to let it go, because he knew that it would be cared for really well. Yeah, so it's not just kids though too. Like we have, so the community youth, so if people don't know, we have our drop-in youth office, which is located on Cave Street. It's halfway between the Compassionate Resource Warehouse and Esquimalt High School. And we do breakfast program Monday through Friday at Esquimalt High. And it's from like 8 till 8:45. Usually you have kids running in late and the toasters aren't put away, so it tends to be till 9. Juice boxes are like gold to these kids, but it's great. It used to be when I used to do breakfast program with Cam, we had like 30 kids that we saw. But now we see like, I guess the best estimate is about 100 kids a day. Like somewhere between, it can range between 80 and 120. So that's 80 and 120 kids every single day that we get to show Jesus to. Because that might be the only place where they ever get to see Jesus, is when they come in. And it's not that we're proselytizing, but we're building relationships and setting that up as like to show that they're loved and cared for and valued. We remember things that are said, details about their lives, names, what juice box they like big deal to some people. It's a big deal when you're a teenager. Because like being a teenager, you're always, that's the number one core issue with a teen is, where do I belong? Where do I fit in? What's my identity? And so to see that people care enough about you to love you and remember like details that other people may not care about is a huge thing. So we usually have like 10 to 20 kids out of those 80 to 100 that stay around us in conversation every day. Yeah, and that's really neat. And we've seen it's the best part of my day every day is getting to see those kids' faces every day. I was away for 2 weeks for training for YFC in Ontario. And like, so I didn't see any of the kids for 2 weeks, and I came back and one of the kids just like came, actually identifies as transgender. And that kid we love very much. And that child has had a very has shared parts of life and parts of like being hurt by people, and actually has a very negative stance on Christians, like altogether, but knows that I'm a Christian, has been to my youth office. And when I came back to school, this child came running up. I was like, Jenn, come back, and like came and wrapped their arms around my neck. And it was pretty awesome. Not a normal reaction, but one where you can see that, you know, the youth has been loved and cared for and just loved right where they're at. Doesn't matter anything else besides that they're a human being created in the image of God that he loves deeply. So, yes. So we have Jolene. We're going to just talk about like our leaders as well. So we have a youth group on Monday night. That was the other part. So we do breakfast program, drop-in space. We also have youth group, and youth group is super fun. Super fun. There's a lot of kids that come from New Life that come, like, because a lot of my own children, as you heard, I have many, they come and their friends come and they know us, but it's a place to belong. But we've had a couple other kids come as well, and it's been a beautiful thing. Actually, some other of the kids they're children of the kids that I served at Sanctuary. They're now of age to come to community youth because of the relationship that was built between the kids and my husband and I, that there's a trust. And so the kids have come. There's two things I want to say about youth group. Is like my leaders are impeccable. I don't even know the words to say. My heart is just so blessed by them. My husband serves alongside of me. We have Jolene Dana, who is a member of Harbor View. She has come and served. She was doing a practicum with me this year, so she was quite the blessing to have. And she, even now that the practicum's over, she wants to stay because she's built relationships and community with the kids at youth group, and she's a blessing. And we have Carlos, who's a long-term volunteer. Same with Blythe. And then we have another Jenn as well. What's really neat is that we all come from different churches as well. So the community is not just for one church, it's actually representative of the whole. So you guys are a partner church. We also partner with Encounter Church, which is in Big West. And we also partner with Victoria Alliance, which is over by Hillside Mall. And then we also trying to run through. And then Carlos is from the Church of the Nazarene on Craigflower as well. So we get to see this like mix of churches that are coming together as one to love children. It's so good. But even in the leadership, there's parts of like the training that I'm going through foundationally for YFC. There's training, and I'm reading the training, and I'm like, but we already do this. Like, this is just a part of our culture that we know that we belong to one another, and we're building relationship, and we actually care and value each other, and we lift other people's. There's strengths that each of us have, and gifts and talents, and so it's a place where we get to talk about that. And then we also get to go deep with one another, so we actually get to know, love, and care for each other, which then in turn helps us know, love, and care for the youth we get to serve. So that's really great. So yeah, the other thing that I was saying is that there's a couple young students that have now started coming, and this one boy in particular, he is in grade 6, and his desperation is to just grow community, to know that he's loved and cared for, and to find friends. That was what he wanted to come to youth group for. And his mom was like, yeah, Jen, Darren, can you please take him? I'm like, yeah, of course you can. And he has found it. Like every day, like we'll have like a high-low on Monday nights, and every day, like one of his highs is my high is being here with you. I know that you guys love me. This is my community. And it's pretty overwhelming, because that's a really good thing. That's what we want to see, right? Is that people understand that they're known, loved, cared for, and they belong. Also, we have another student who's in grade 12, and she struggles with some like mental illnesses. And she's very isolated, very broken. She comes as well. And I think about last Monday night and how she was just weeping, and how she was just not sure why people, like, because she hasn't necessarily been very, she's not like easy. I don't know what other word to use. Like, there's a lot of difficulties with her. It's one of those, Lord, you have to show me how to love this child well, because she's quite antagonistic and quite, I love her. But she can be quite challenging with like just disrespectful. And but this last Monday, she was weeping because she didn't understand how we could show love, because she's aware that she's been difficult. So in that moment, I could see God drop really close to her and just surround her, which was really beautiful. Even at my youth group at New Life, which again, New Life or Esquimalt at the community, it's the same. It's pretty much a lot of the same kids, and I'll hear kids actually say at both of them how much it feels like a family, how they know they belong. They keep on coming back week after week after week, and when they've missed a week, people are like, "Where are so and so? Where are so and so? Like, we've missed them. What's been going on?" Where they feel loved and cared for, and the students actually say, "Like, this is my family. This is my family." It's like, oh, this is so good. I'm like, thank you, Lord, that this is what your heart is for each and every child. There's another student that comes to both, and this year I take the kids to a conference up in Courtney every year called Consumed. And the Lord is always moving. It seems he's always moving, period. But there's quite like, I don't know if the children are like, teens are more like open to receive at that point, because there's like, it's a bigger corporate gathering of fellow like youth, which makes, I don't know, it kind of drops their guard down. They're away from their home city. So they're somewhere new. So they're more open and responsive, I think, to what God is doing. And this young man, he had told me that he was walking away from the Lord. He's like, I don't want to do this. And when we brought him up to Consume, the Lord like really cared for him and saw a lot of the woundedness and brokenness and actually addressed a lot of that. And he was weeping the first night, and all the teenagers that we brought up huddled around him. And it reminded me of where it says that God will shelter us under the shadow of his wings, or a mother hen protecting its young under the wings. That's the visual of what I saw. It was really God's hands and feet, God's wings coming around and huddling over him, where he could just let things go. That was the first night. The second night, God then spoke to him, and he has rededicated his life to Jesus. So that is, yeah, it's an awesome thing. I get weepy when I think of those things because I love these kids. I don't want to see them walking out of relationship with the Lord, because I know personally that he is the only one who can save, and he's the only one who can heal, and he's the only one that will set us into this place of like healing and hope and family and love and care. So that's been a highlight this year for sure. Yeah, I talked about that. It's just like I only have a few notes because I get overwhelmed by notes. And I kind of jumped through where I was going. Next one was like breakfast programming, what we've seen. Yes, what we've seen, our kids coming around and just loving being in the presence of people. We actually get to talk. Like, kids will ask us what we're doing. They ask us, they tend to know that we're Christians. We've actually found there's a lot of Christian students in Esquimalt High. And I don't think they all know each other, but they're starting to, because we've been able to, it's like they're drawn. They can see it and they're drawn. And so I actually had another student that I didn't know. I thought that she went, I had seen her at this conference, and I thought she went to PCS with another student that she came to the youth group with. And she's like, no, I go to Esquimalt High. And I'm like, no way. That is totally the Lord. And so I've now like seen her when she's come back in. She's in grade 9, but her heart is to actually start something, like start a Bible study or start something at the school. So I think it's really neat to see where God is moving in this next season, and how he's kind of already been, we can see how he's already been like preparing the way for how it's going to look going forward. And just the fact that we're there in that school, and this is a longing in the child's heart. It's really neat to see it kind of come together. I think I'm going to go to like the last story now. So the last story is our drop-in program. And this drop-in program, youth drop-in office, kids can come whenever they want. Like, there's kids who have spares and they're like, I need to talk to you. Are you going to be at your office? I'm like, wasn't planning on it, but you need to talk? Absolutely. Then I'll go to the office and I'll leave it open. They know that they're safe because they've already been built. Like, they have a relationship built. So they can come with all of their problems, and we welcome that. And that has happened. But when there's this group of boys that come to drop in, and they've been coming since Cam was still here, when we were running the barbecue. They started coming. They're like, what? There's a center up there? Wow. Oh, there's a pool table? Come on. I want to come play pool. And that is what they did for a year and a half, almost 2 years, like coming up to 2 years. And then they would start, there was one young man in particular who actually like told his friends that it wasn't open because he wanted to stay and talk and go deep, which pretty awesome. But at the same time, it's like, buddy, like it's for everyone. But he had done that, and that's really neat because it's allowed this relationship to form. But there's also, yeah, this group of boys, pool. That's all they wanted to do. And then it switched. And I don't know what it switched. I can only guess that it's this place of really being seen and loved. That if I talk to people, you can almost feel it within inside of yourself where it's like, okay, we'll talk. But then there's a moment where you're like, oh, I feel peace here. I can actually trust you and I can talk to you. And that is, I guess, what has happened because these boys don't come to play pool any longer. They come in and they come and sit in the youth office and we have conversations. And like we get to really love them for who they are. We get to know them for who they are. And we get to speak into their lives because they've allowed us. That's what they have seen being modeled is they see the tender care, and it's the tender care of the Lord. A lot of them would say that they're Christians. Some of them go to church regularly, and some of them don't. But we've been able to have conversations about that, and then like tough conversations about like pornography or abuse or like things that have happened in their life where they've started to open up. And it's a privilege and an honor to be able to be there to talk to them and help them understand and then also understand God's love for them. Because in the youth office, I'm not as limited as I am when I go into a public high school. So when they come to the youth office, we can really share Jesus. And that's always the hope, is that will happen and cross over with one another. We've actually taken, Jolyn and I have actually taken one of the teens to church with us at his request. So that was really great. It's like, I've never been to a church like this before. Wow, I actually understand God. There were so many questions afterward that he had. Like, I didn't know that. Like, what do you mean? Can you help me understand this? And I'm like, absolutely, I can help you understand this. That is the hope. You just seeing like changes in their character, their love for one another, things that were like difficult, where one was like, when I first met him, he would bark at girls, like kind of like intimidating. And I would be like, dude, you can't do that. Like, that's not like you really can't do that. Like that's not being kind. And you wonder why people are not liking you. That might be part of the reason why people aren't liking you, is you bark at them. So maybe I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that that's a big part of it. We've had to keep the drop-in open a little bit later than what it was originally. Part of it is traffic for me. Going back to COVID is quite busy on an afternoon. So, but they have stayed till like 6:30 or 7. And then we've also seen, because we've built relationships with them, we've been invited to plays and performances and games with the school, outside of the school. So anytime that we get an opportunity to go and show them that, hey, we care for you, we're rooting you on, we're going to champion you. And then they actually get to meet some parents that way too. And they're like, oh, you're the lady at that office over there. Oh, it's so nice to meet you. I've heard a lot about you. So it's really, really cool. They've also they have an interest in cooking. And with teenage boys, the real neat thing is they don't like a lot of like eye contact. Like, don't stare me in the eye. That's uncomfortable. So when you come alongside of them and actually do something with them, so we found out that they like cooking. So we've been cooking with them, or they've been helping us cook on Mondays. So and then they've actually stayed for youth group a couple of times, which is really awesome. Just the last thing from that drop-in would be on Friday last week, not this past Friday, but the one before. When I came back, Jolyn and I walked up to Niche Cafe, which is a local cafe, like really close to Esquimalt High. And we saw some of our students, and they were like, you guys are here, so nice to see you. So we took them for coffee, we bought them coffee, and the one boy, he's so great. He's graduating this year, and I asked him, like, what am I gonna do when you guys aren't here next year? Because you guys are like the kids that like I see every day, and I just have this. Again, as I said, I hurt. Like I love them so much. I'm like, oh no, what am I gonna do? Like, how am I ever gonna see you again? And this young man, he just looked at me and he goes, oh, you'll see us. And I'm like, but you're gonna be busy working. He's like, no, that place is like home for us. And that right there is like everything. Because I know when Cam left, I'm like, God, like, what do you want to do with this? Like, what is this supposed to look like? We're called the community. We want it to be a place where a community can gather, where people can gather together and just be free and at peace. Like, that's what we pray for the office. But we just, that the hope, and again, because I'm a mom, is that community is well, what's the heart of that? And I believe that the heart of that is for things to feel like home. Like when I think of community, the community I want to surround myself with is people that feel like home. Doesn't mean things are always going to be perfect, but it's a place where you can come and you can belong and you can just be in relationship with one another, and it's safe. When I think of home, I think of safety. And it's been my prayer is like, God, let this be somewhere where people can feel at home. I'll go back to that in just a moment. In Psalm 68, verse 5 and 6a. So God is the father to the fatherless. He's the defender of the widows. This is God, whose dwelling place is holy. God places the lonely in families. He sets the prisoners free and gives them joy. That's to 6a. And that is so true. God sets the lonely in families. So we have kids that feel like they don't belong. They're from third cultures, or they've just had rough lives, or they've had difficulties, they've had challenges. They don't belong in school. They're not fitting in. And they can come and they can come and sit in a place that is full of the Lord's presence. And they can call it home, a place where they belong. That's what I wanted to share. And also thank you all, because you guys partner with us, and thank you for everything that you do to partner with us, because we wouldn't be able to do anything of what we're doing, whether it's financial or prayer. Like, we're so eternally grateful because you're part. I get to be that as that person who's called to youth ministry, but you are vital. Every prayer is vital to the kingdom of God moving on and us doing what we're doing. So bless you all.
Thank you. Can we get a music wrap up?
Awesome. That's amazing.
The passage that I was thinking of when you were doing that is from Ephesians 2:19. No longer strangers or foreigners. You are citizens along with all of God's holy people, members of God's family.
Members of God's family.
And that is really what the place called home.
Yeah.
That is. So thank you so much. Any questions quickly about the community youth? Feel free to throw it out now, and then we'll just spend some time in prayer for the community youth, for Jenn, and the future, what that looks like, as well as God show us how we can be a home for people to belong to. So as Harborview. So any questions?
Well, Jen, can you put some of that information, how we can, where if people wanted to volunteer, be part of the organization, how can we get a hold of you and find out where we can fit in that?
For sure. Yeah.
If you left it with the pastor.
Absolutely.
You let me know, we can connect.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Graham will put that all together. Yeah.
That'd be great.
And because we do support Jenn in the ministry. So this is opportunity, like Dana was involved in that. She's learning French right now.
Yes, we miss her.
But but it is a great opportunity to continue to pray. So maybe more updates where I need to work on it, bring more of those updates to what God is doing over there.
And when Dan is back, feel free to ask her too.
Yes.
She'll love to share.
Do you have a website?
No, there's no website. Like the only website is yfcvictoria.com/Jenn, and it'll bring you to like my YFC page. But
Yeah.
no, we like post sometimes on social media, but even that, like kids aren't necessarily paying attention to that. So it's
Good question, but
good question.
focusing on home is where she's at.
Yeah.
No home page.
No, the gift of administration is not one I've been given. I've been given a gift of like doing. Yes.
I appreciate what you do. Thank you so much. Yes, you can sit back. Thank you.